Hello. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully, everybody's doing great. Happy Friday. First of all, I want to introduce you to a fantastic person. Her name is Adrienne Ramo, and she's a dietitian, she's a coach, and she's going to help us get our entrepreneurial mindset set up in the right way. So, welcome, Adrienne.
Thank you for having me, John. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad to see you. So, Adrienne, please introduce yourself just a little bit. Give us a little bit of the background. What expertise or how many years have you been doing this?
Well, I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, but really more of a functional and integrative one. So I like to look at people more holistically because, as I tell clients, if I tell you to eat more broccoli and I'm ignoring the fact that you are stressed out and not sleeping well, how much does that help you? Not a whole lot. So we like to take a comprehensive look at people. And I really like to get to the root of digestive issues and also mindset around weight loss.
Okay, perfect. And today we're gonna be diving deep into the topic of how to get your mind right as an entrepreneur. So one thing that me as an entrepreneur I struggle a lot with is understanding what are the priorities of my life.
Yeah, this is extremely common. And some of us have teams, and others, we are everything. We are the CEO who is the visionary and the one designing programs and products and services. But we're also kind of like the secretaries of our business. We're scheduling appointments. We are answering the phone calls. And then also we are the marketing and sales. It's just a lot for us to do on top of taking care of our partnerships and our families, getting our brakes repaired, doing yard work, and all sorts of things, really.
Yes, and while wearing all those caps, we sometimes forget that if we are not there presently and healthy, none of those things run.
That's right. I think that's the main problem, actually. A lot of us have our priorities so that we are tending to our business first, our families, maybe, taking care of the house, and then little old us, we're down here. And so we can have burnout, we can have health problems that, are lingering because we didn't address them in the first place. So it's a lot.
Yes, and what are the things that, or how we can actually prioritize or figure out what to prioritize? What do you recommend on figuring out how to prioritize things?
Well, one of the first things is kind of checking in to see where you are. And so, what I kind of came up with was a list of questions like to help us see how we are ranking in our own lives. And the first one was if you can't remember the last time you went to a doctor for a physical or a dentist to get your teeth cleaned, that's kind of a sign that you maybe aren't taking care of some of your physical health. If you are exhausted at the end of the day, when you say that you're going to take a day off from work, but you end up working, that's kind of a sign that can lead to burnout. Sometimes we've forgotten how to play. We've forgotten what fun and joy have been like because we're just always in business. And that productivity is king. Part of our minds are like, why should you take a bath when you could be doing X, Y, and Z? And the last part is more of our mental health. So if our mental health isn't where we want it to be, a lot of times we can have depression light, maybe not heavy depression, but that can be a sign that we are putting ourselves at the very bottom of our list too. So those are just some signs and symptoms of like, okay, wait, this is maybe I'm not putting myself where I should be in my list of priorities.
And that is a tough situation because me as a business owner, most of the time, whenever I'm not working, yes, I may be having a lot of fun, but I feel guilty.
Okay.
I feel that guilt like coming up is like, John, what are you doing? You're not being productive. Remember those 20,000 things that you have to do? And in my case, I do have, thank God, a team that backs me up, because like you said at the beginning, there's people that don't have a team. They're everything. On my
Mhm.
case, I do have a team, and I feel that those people need you to show up and get things done. How do we deal with that?
How do we do what?
How do we deal with that feeling so we don't feel guilty for actually taking care of ourselves?
Well, that actually reminds me of a conversation I had with one of my mentors. She asked me what my list of priorities was. And I was like, okay, well, obviously my business is number one. That's my baby. Like, that's everything to me. Number two is my relationships. Number three was me having a clean and organized house. And then I was number four. And just even saying that out loud was pretty enlightening for me. And then I started realizing, well, I am my business. And so there are benefits to me taking care of myself because I will show up so much better for others. And that's when I was like, all right, I got to get serious about creating a better morning routine, scheduling my dentist appointments and everything, actually taking a day off. And I think the pandemic kind of brought this up for me a little bit more because, I mean, we didn't go on vacations during that time. And so I was in burnout during the pandemic. I kept pushing myself though. And I would only stop when I was too fatigued or exhausted to work, which is pretty sad. But even during those times where I'm like sitting there, like, oh, too exhausted, I was still saying, oh, you should be doing stuff. Oh, there's guilt and shame on top of this. It was like a stress sandwich, really, to even just be too exhausted to work. And so then I was like, all right, well, I need to start making time for dancing, for doing art, for journaling, reading books, the things that brought me joy, because otherwise I'm going to be dead probably from being constantly burnt out. This is not the way that I want to live. And I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we did not leave 9-to-5 jobs to create a 9-to-5 hell basically for ourselves, right?
Yep, that is right. So the way that you overcame this situation is finally saying enough is enough. I go first.
Yes, and not in a selfish or narcissistic way, but more as okay, I realize that I cannot pour from an empty pitcher. You know, you can't just keep pouring into other people's glasses and leave nothing left for yourself. Or, the oxygen principle, it's the same thing. But a lot of times when we're able to get work done and we're kind of functioning, then we don't really put ourselves first. It usually takes a wake-up call, some sort of emergency or severe burnout for us to say, all right, I have to change some things now. And unfortunately, sometimes that's what happens because we as humans don't like change. And if everything seems to be going well, why would we ever change that?
Or we think that is going to the best that it can be. And that's the other part. One of the things that at the beginning I struggled with my business was like, I'm doing the best that I can. Everything is going fine. But I was just blinded that there's 20 other ways to do the same thing and sometimes even get better results. So like you said, the biggest thing for people is we're really, really against change. So to start with change, what do you recommend?
Well, I like to go the positive route, but we can do the negative route too of like, okay, well, we can wait till we're in burnout, or I call it the emergency room situation where things are so bad. And when we finally, wake up from the coma, we're like, oh, wait, I do have diabetes. I've been warned about this. What am I going to do about it now? I do prefer to come at it from more of the aspirational route though, of like, all right, things are working relatively well for you, but they could be better. How do we get it to be better for you? And a key part for me was realizing that my morning routine, which I basically started over the summer, it consisted of me waking up, having my coffee outside, being present to the sights and the smells and the feeling of being outside, like grounding my feet in the dirt essentially. And then I would have an exercise class scheduled. I'd take a shower, and part of my brain was like, this is going to take all day long, and that I wouldn't be focused and productive with clients. I was wasting time. But it was actually the opposite. I felt so much better after the 2 to 3 hours that this morning routine would take. And then I showed up for my clients from more of a nourished place versus a depleted place. And I was still really very focused. So that's kind of what sold me on my own morning routine. Like, I know it works. It's just hard to implement sometimes when we're just in the dirt or in the trenches, we'll say, of like, oh, got to get the blog done, got to get this stuff done. We put ourselves again last, but really we're going to be so much more productive if we just rearrange our priorities a little bit.
That is true. And seeing the benefit from actually getting it done, because like you said, your mind shifts the second that you get your morning routine or whatever routine you have planned for yourself done. You feel like a little achievement, a little success for the day, and then your mind approaches everything in a different light. uh,
Yeah. Which is
and
why I
that
think we should do a morning routine live stream next time.
we definitely should. And for people that don't know Adrian, she's my body in my morning routine. It's important to have people vested in your success, and Adrian is one of them. So thank you very much, Adrian,
Thank
for
you.
every morning keeping me up on my toes.
Yeah. It's important to have accountability partners, which I guess would be another good point here too. If you want to start instituting a change and putting yourself first, try to bring in a buddy, somebody else who is also like, hey, I want to do a morning routine, or hey, let's do an exercise class at 9 o'clock, and then we can start our days. It's so
And
important.
yeah, and another thing that is really important to point out, the person doesn't have to live in the same state or same city. I live in Florida. She lives in Ohio.
Yes.
So thanks to the magic of the phone and the internet and all the platforms that we have available, we can connect. And Adrian is being so amazing, connecting with me every day, and keeping in touch with me, keeping me real. Because hey, let's be honest, we're humans, and we're gonna forget things, we're gonna have things happen to us that are gonna pass by, and we're gonna feel like, oh my god, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. We have to remember that we have to love ourselves as well, and part of
I,
loving ourselves is accepting the mistakes.
and it's putting ourselves first, right? And like actually engaging in self-care first thing in the morning. um so yeah, I would definitely appreciate that you help keep me accountable to myself as well, because it's simple but it's not always easy to do, right? A lot of these things, they're not hard in the sense that we can't wrap our minds around it. It's just the actual like, all right, I got to do the 10 push-ups, I have to make my breakfast, and then I'm going to text John and be like, I did my morning routine, without it being perfect. So for those of you who are perfectionists, I'm a recovering perfectionist myself. None of this has to be perfect. Just pick one little thing to help yourself and just try to stick with it. Even 50% of the time is better than zero.
Okay, I like what you said. You're a recovering perfectionist, because I think we all the people that are in business are recovering perfectionists. Because when you have an idea, most entrepreneurs, not all of them, but most of them have that analysis paralysis. Meaning, okay, I have a great idea, but now until everything's not lined up and all the stars in the sky line up, I'm not gonna launch it.
It's true. I think that's true. And we procrastinate because of that. And sometimes in people pleasing, which I think is the third P of this problem, we are putting others again before ourselves because we're in that people pleasing mode of like, what do others need? How do I help them? But again, you can't be depleted and serve people very effectively.
Yep, that is right. So, what are the some books or some places that we can go and learn more about how to be more proactive into taking care of ourselves, and how to be more proactive into taking action?
Well, the book I'm reading right now, or rereading, is Atomic Habits by James Clear, because really it's what I already do. It's all about small, sustainable, but powerful habits that we can make to really increase the trajectory of our own success and our vitality too. Because there's one thing to be successful, wealthy, however you describe it, but if you are in a state of chronically bad health, is that really worth it? Like, we can have both. We just have to establish some good habits. So that's why I like James Clear. I have on the blog my morning routine. So if people go to the search bar, they can look up one of my morning routines. And yeah, I think that those are two places. Can't think of any other books right offhand, but there's so many of them.
There you go. So, please, if you want to connect with Adrian, One Bite Wellness, okay, onebitewellness.com is her site. She has a lot of blogs that are going to talk about health, nutrition, mental health. Please take a quick look at it. If you want to book a meeting with her, Her phone number is 614-596-7795. Again, 614-596-7795. She's in Ohio, but thanks to the internet, she can connect with you through Zoom or any other platform. Is there anything that you do complimentary for people?
Yeah, people can schedule a complimentary 20-minute discovery call if they just go to onebitewellness.com. And that's where we go over any health issues you have, your wellness goals, everything that helps you so that you can be a higher performance human being. We're not going for perfection, but we're going for higher, right? All of us want a little bit more. And so we can tweak some things in our lifestyle, in our health, in our eating that can really help us a lot.
That sounds great. So you have a lot to gain by taking those 20 minutes. So I urge you to go ahead, book the appointment, go through her website. She's amazing at giving advice. So please take advantage of it. I always say this because this is one of my biggest pet peeves, personal pet peeve, is that a lot of people ask their family members or as their coworkers, as people that have the same type of issues that they're having, that are having no success into making changes, and thinking that because that person gave you an advice is good advice. No, go and ask for somebody who has actually achieved it, done it herself, and then you will have good advice, because they have already achieved what you have not been able to achieve. Ask somebody that knows what they're talking about. So in this case, Adrian is the person to ask. So for everybody, until next time, we're gonna be bringing more information on the monthly basis if Adrian's schedule allows it, right?
Yes, I would love that.
Perfect. So everyone, thank you very much for being here today. Adrian, any last words?
Just maybe think about where you are ranking yourself today in terms of your priorities, and one little thing you could do for yourself to put you right back at number one.
All right. So thank you, Adrian. Thank you for being here. And everybody, much love. See you until next time. Goodbye.